yeah, I follow a guy called Naval, who is an angel investor, and this is his model, and he's opened my eyes to this kind of way of thinking about it, right? Whether it's music or creative work or anything, there are only two ways to make money. You can rent out your time, or you can own some kind of intellectual property or equity in a company. Now, for musicians, what that means is owning the compositional or sound recording rights to a piece of music that enables you to get paid for each time that music is played on broadcasting systems, radio and TV, and also now with this newish format, which is mechanical licensing through streaming. The point being here, there's copyright involved in. Hey Matt, how's it going? There's copyright involved in the work that you create. Renting out time, you can do that by performing or teaching or producing. Those are all ways of generating money from a fixed use of time. But if you're concerned with kind of the growing trend of creating material for other internet users to use in their productions, whether it's as a backing track for music or artwork or illustration or any kind of educational resource, whatever it is you create, you should be moving away from thinking about intellectual property as royalties and more about direct sales, because there is a growing number of people who will now pay $5 for an ebook on what it means to teach jazz theory to 15-year-olds, for example, or whatever the case may be. Direct sales is where we have to focus as artists. We've got to be the ones stepping up and saying, here we go, I've done the work, it's online, it's in front of you, and what I'm asking for in exchange for money, or what you're asking for in exchange for money, is the convenience of having it pre-formatted and pre-created so that you can use it for your own endeavors. So in this way, we're bypassing a lot of the gatekeeping sort of mechanisms that have been put in place in the past between the creator and the consumer in this case. Why are we doing this now and never before? Because now we have the internet. Now we have the ability to do it. We can directly connect with people all over the place in real time and share our creative work with them. And there is a market for like pretty much everything. And when I say a market, I mean a niche. I don't mean six figures. I mean just enough for you to actually get by as a creator. And I think as musicians, that's most of us. That's our goal. Yeah. How you, dude? Can you hear me? Matthias, Matt, are you there? I see what's going on. Hang on a second. Cool. Hey, you there? 1 2 1 2. Calling Matt. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, there you are. Cool, man. How's it going?
Yeah, good myself.
All right. Nice to see you, man.
Yeah, likewise.
What do you look like today? I'm an old lady with grey hair by the looks of it.
Amazing.
You're a dapper-looking young chap there, out for a round of drinks at the pub tonight, no doubt, eh?
Always, yeah, always.
Yeah, cool, dude. Well, yeah, I mean, this is the expected sort of dip in turnout as you start to do these things regularly. People get a sense of what it is and what it isn't, and this is all totally cool. What I'm doing in the meantime is, I mean, we can just sort of hang out a bit now, but I'm also just kind of farming content, if that makes sense. I was doing a little presentation on that whiteboard over there. It's a new addition to the space.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah.
Go check it out. See. I just want to see how it behaves. So you just go over to it and you have to push X to view the contents of it. Just go over to the whiteboard. And
I was checking it out now. It's interesting because I was also taking notes the last time we were talking and also trying to work on something like that, because I think it is a great idea, to kind of have these similar things, So not some. Fuck! I did not sleep well last night. My brain is fucked.
Kudos for being here, man.
Have like having these notes and stuff, where we can kind of like share stuff and kind of put down some shared resources. And I think one of the things that they do definitely what I'm looking for is how to make money, because I'm doing this like user experience design and process flow mapping for this insurance company. And holy shit, it's fucking killing me, dude.
Oh, is that right?
I mean, it's good money, but oh my god, I'm like dying inside. Just having to sit down and like I'm billing them like 6 hours every day.
Uh,
But like, it's not like going to work for 8 hours where, your productivity is probably sitting around 4.5.
yeah,
It's like 6 hours of like working, and man, it's I wouldn't say soul destroying just yet, but it's not. It's a slog, It's like it takes me a good half an hour just to like get into the work.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I gather that you need sort of chunks of time for any kind of coding or like in that kind of work. You need to like really knuckle down and figure it out.
yeah,
Yeah, man. Well,
yeah.
you keep it balanced, Matt. I mean, I know. I mean, on the one hand, there's good cash and career opportunities, and on the other hand, there's like sanity and mental health and physical health, and don't.
Oh, dude, it's totally just funding because I need to upgrade my laptop, which means I'm gonna have to upgrade half my studio because I'm on like old gear. So
Yes,
I
yes, yes,
need
yes.
a serious injection of cash
Yeah,
over the
yeah,
next couple of months. So this is like, and also over lockdown, just the savings have been dwindling.
yeah, yeah,
Luckily, I put aside some cash for a rainy day.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
When you work at a finance institution, some of these things, responsible money kind of flows through. So luckily that helped with some of the lockdown pressure.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I need to like uh, get that get that back up a little bit and take the pressure off. But yeah, man, the more and more I think about it, the more it's like I'm living two lives. Like the one is like this lockdown limbo that we've been in for ages, which is not quite reality, but it's real.
Yeah.
And then the other one is like, as attached to that is like where I want to transition my revenue into more and more music related stuff,
Mm.
which is all fine and dandy when it's not happening because of like we're in lockdown. So if it's not happening, it's not really an issue. But the moment we're out of lockdown, if that's not happening, then it means that I'm not actually achieving that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So it's like but also like in the past, say 3 or 4 or 5 weeks where I've been working with this other company, it's like, well, there's not enough energy in the day, like hours and energy to kind of pursue certain things, especially when new stuff always takes a little bit more energy. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, man, that's why I'm appreciating these Tuesdays because it's kind of a good injection um, of ideas. And yeah, as I said, I mean, I really just need to find ways to generate revenue that is within music, within
Yeah.
the music realm of
I
some
hear you,
kind.
man, but like based on my knowledge of you, I think it's not more ideas that you need. I think that your head is swimming, and perhaps what you need is just like sanity or clarity or balance, like some kind of voice that's not just your authority figures telling you what to do in exchange for money, and also like
Yeah,
a friendly type of. I mean, we're all sitting around. I'm married, but a lot of us are just sitting around like fucking on our own. And I think that this serves a dual purpose of being like, yeah, okay, I can actually provide you with new ideas, but also there's a community aspect to it. At least I want there to be.
yeah,
Of
totally.
like, yes, okay, so
Yeah.
there's this thing you can do twice a month that at least people speak your language and understand your struggles or whatever. Yeah, so that's what I hope I can at least um, provide or help provide. So yeah, fucking you just sitting. I think about you sometimes sitting in that room and just like freaking tweaking out over like thousands of lines of code. And is that pretty much an accurate?
I mean, ish, not like, I mean, pretty much what I do at the moment isn't too code based, but I mean, the analogy is pretty similar. Where at the moment, I'm just like stretched quite thin over a lot of different things.
Uh-huh.
So that's where the sort of insanity starts creeping in. But I mean, on the good side, I mean, make hay while the sun shines. I mean, we just launched
Right.
we launched 3 video services with MTN, and we've got uh, what are we sitting on now? I think we're sitting on about 20,000 or 25,000 subscribers
Cool.
between the 3 of them. And
Fantastic.
these motherfuckers are paying like £5 a day
Uh-huh.
to subscribe to this shit.
Yeah.
It's pretty mad. I mean, there's
Shit.
there's a lot of people that take. I mean, that the piece of the pie that we get is quite small. I mean, there's a lot of stakeholders that have with their knives and forks taking chunks of that pie. But
Mm.
I've been working on it now for. I think I joined the company in like a year ago, August, September last year. So it's like we've been slogging away and yeah, hopefully over the next few months. We're launching an education portal as well, end of the month.
Cool.
So hopefully that'll also help. Yeah.
Nice. And then what is your role in the in all of this? It's really just front and back end development, or what? Or is it
No,
also
so on these I'm doing yeah, it's like a product management role, but actually at the moment it's more an operational management function.
Okay, right.
So mostly doing like agile projects management methodology, making sure like the end goal is broken down into steps and into like little sort of 1 week or 2 week chunk sprints, and that all the requirements are there, everything gets done, and also we optimize everything as we go. So in the beginning it was chaos. Just when people are just emailing each other and slacking each other, and it's like who's doing what, when, where, how. Kind of when we did that Pebble Shakers album, where in the beginning it was just like music and people and just fucking phone, like text messaging, and no one's doing anything. I was like, shit, we've got to get a sheet together, we've got to get some organization, understand where we're going, what to do by when. So kind of a very similar function, just on a higher level.
Right. Yeah, I think it was like
and then
the end of that Pebble Shakers project too. I don't think there was any sort of development in our operational skills throughout the whole recording process, beginning and at the end. We were still in a state of chaos.
Yeah. But what was nice is that I think we really did like step into that with like we were fairly well prepared when we got into those rooms.
Yeah, no, that's true. We did actually pull it together,
which was nice. It was nice to, it's so easy to get in there and be like, oh yeah, who's doing a solo on this song? And
I'm a fan
what was that part we didn't do?
I'm a fan of spreadsheets for sure, bro. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's just zoom in on your sort of ambitions now. You mentioned like getting together with the on the music side of things. So what exactly did you have in mind? Like, what are your goals on that side? I know, and I'm bummed I missed that Not Max thing at Empire, because I've also been visiting them, trying to get this live streaming thing going. But what exactly is it you're trying to achieve? Now that it's just one-on-one for now. Like,
dude. So top line is like so I was adjusting. Top line is like I want to produce music and perform that music. Like there's an ambition there. If I can make a living out of that, I know that's a dream and a pipe dream for the vast majority of people that are looking at that as a something that they want to do. I also just don't want to. I've spent so long kind of putting it on the side. And if you got like a 6-8 hour slog during the day, getting to that stuff at night's difficult. And I've also got a lot of work to do to learn so much. Exactly. So I think from a goal, like if I wrote down a goal the other day, which I'm a bit terrified to share, but like play a gig at a festival overseas that has got an attendance of more than 10,000 people, and get booked for it. I've got little goals on the way to that. I'm still kind of piecing it together. But if I could do that, I mean, whether or not I get paid big bucks for it, or whether it costs me a shitload of money, I mean, that would just be a kind of a life goal. And I'd like to turn that into some sort of revenue stuff. So, if it's a case of trying to be, like certified Ableton, whatever, and then offering production lessons, or whether it's doing, even things like cleaning up people's audio for podcasts, or whatever the case may be. It's just finding some bread and butter work, and then trying to have as much creative work in there as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Creative aligned work, and then sometimes still for like my own just pure, like creativity. Like I woke up this morning and I was busy arranging a song that I'm busy writing, and I mean, I was actually pretty pissed off when I had to like leave that and do the bread, like the money that the work that pays the money, that pays the bills. But I mean, just having that hour and a half to do that is like it makes a lot of, I think, life worth it. I've spent a lot of time in offices, so that's kind of the goal. That's kind of the goal is to But again, make enough money that it's not a case of, I don't want to be a fucking starving musician.
That's the tough thing, though, is it's necessarily the case to say goodbye to big paychecks when you are trying to build something that has meaning to you personally. Because
Totally, yeah,
I mean, it's not either or, it's not black and white, but it's kind of,
yeah,
and it's taken me a long time to realize this, that the the bread and butter work, or whatever you want to call it, the paid work, is it enables the art, and to try to force a career where the art is enabling something else is, in my experience and opinion, a recipe for disappointment. What you should focus on doing, what we should all focus on doing, is like exactly what you just said. Try to weave in some of the work which brings you joy into your daily habit, because if it's on the shelf and it's something you always mean to get to, then it sits
yeah,
like a like a ghost in the corner of your mind, and it just kind of
yeah,
it wears you down knowing that you're not doing anything. And I even I
yeah,
feel this, like I do all this creative work all the time, but a lot of it is bread and butter, and I've got my Pravda projects and I've got stuff that I just always mean to get to, so I know what that's like. And as far as, I mean, I've juggled and struggled with this exact topic my whole life, like the money versus the art. And the conclusion that I've come to is that your best outcome is to have even just an hour a day woven into the fabric of your life, so thoroughly
yeah,
embedded in your life as a habit, that it's something you're still going to be doing. And the results of that are that it starts to take on more importance over time, and you realize you're on this kind of ship and you're heading towards a future that you're creating, rather than feeling like you're constantly on the wrong course. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah,
That's a combination of a lot of different people's sources of wisdom and my own experience. But if you can do your own creative work, your music production, the stuff you want to do, if you can do it for like an hour a day, that is success, my friend. If you've got an hour a day to devote to something that you feel passionate about, that is a success, and that's balance. What?
yeah. I find that the tricky part, like something that I've never really like pushed as something that
Hey, Stephen, you guys there? Hey, Stephen, how you doing? Sorry
uh,
to interrupt. This is Stephen Timms. This is a mate of mine who's joining tonight. This is Matt.
how's it? How's it, man?
Yeah, we were just talking. So, what? Yeah, what were you going to say, Matt?
Uh, oh yeah, like with my ADHD, it's kind of like it's really difficult to maintain like uh, that long burning fire in layers. Like an hour a day here, an hour a day, an hour a day, an hour a day.
Mm.
And keep that going. It's I find it's I've been watching this guy on Instagram who's like kind of an ADHD kind of influencer commentator, and
Oh
he's
wow.
he sells merch that says like all or nothing, and I'm like, that's exactly it. It's like always just sort of the way I'm trying to do balance now is like I'm doing this insurance work, so I'm like, cool, put the music on the back burner. You got insurance work, and when I was putting my set together, it was like 2 weeks of just like all day every day, So try and find balance in a mental balance between like, okay, I can't do a lot of music work today, but it's because I'm getting the funding to
Mm.
be able to have a month free to
Mm.
turn down a bit of other work to like really just go balls to the
Okay,
wall of
yeah.
that, and then
See
got
what
to
you
pull
mean.
out. I think that's kind of the
I get you. Yeah, yeah.
that's
That's a
balance.
dangerous one, man. I mean,
Yeah,
it's dangerous because tomorrow never comes. What you do today is what you do with your life. So that's why I say even like an hour a day.
yeah,
It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're doing an hour a day of whatever it is you're trying to do, then that is a fantastic sort of outcome. And if you get to that point where you're actually able to turn down work which is bringing in money and earning you status and getting you some kind of career boost or whatever it is, if you're able to say, shit, there are consequences to me turning this down, but I'm going to turn it down anyway. What that does is
yeah,
you also begin to train yourself and say, yeah, music doesn't always have to be, this bastard stepchild in the attic. Music can actually be 1/8 of my life. And you train yourself like that. And like, I mean, an hour
yeah,
a day it's actually quite a high goal to aim for, you know? So
yeah,
that's why I say if you can do it, then, but I don't know what it's like having ADHD. I've never suffered from that. And if that approach is something that you trust yourself to execute on, if you know that, okay, there's a date in mind, by September 19th, I'm going to finish this project and then I'm going to take 5,000 Rand and I'm going to live off that while I complete an album. If that's the approach that works for you, then do that. Yeah. It's just
I'm trying
risky.
it. We'll
It's
see.
risky, yeah, because tomorrow never comes. But you know, if you get to that point, I want to know exactly how it goes, man. I want a live stream of your entire experiment and process and everything. Yeah.
Well, dude, let me send. I mean, have you seen any of my not Mac stuff?
I haven't yet, and I'm bummed that I missed that. So please do share that with me. Send it to me in the chat now, or WhatsApp or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you a link to a couple of the clips. Obviously, I
check that
edited and
out.
stuff.
Stephen, we're just chatting about like creative sort of ambitions and stuff. Matt's plays with me in bands, and I've got an idea of what he's after. But what are you after? What brings you here? And like, you know, how can we kind of assist? You'll have to turn your mic on. I think your mic's off, man. Okay, still really, really soft, man. I can't hear anything you're saying. Still can't hear anything.
I wonder if we need to be out of this. We're all kind of near each other.
Yeah, I don't know. I've kind of just lost focus on the room there. Yeah, there we go. It's flipping things around. Jeez, you've gone transparent. Yeah, this environment is kind of cool because it's not Zoom, but it's also more complicated. Stephen still can't hear you.
You've got the orange little speakerphone, which I think is staying on the speaker thing. Which usually when you do that, it's easy to hear.
Let's see.
Let
me just move
this.
Okay, Steve, you're on a so the way that this room works, I don't know if you can hear me, Stephen, but you're standing on an orange square. Just move off it and see if that makes a difference. Use your arrow keys to get away from that square you're standing on. See if that makes a difference. It's so weird. We live in a weird time.
Yeah.
Okay, let's check the chat. Can you hear me, Stephen? Stephen, if you can hear me, use the arrow keys on your keyboard to move to your left or your right. Just basically get off the stage area in this room. Okay, cool. You can hear me. So now, Stephen, use the arrow keys on your keyboard to move away from the stage area, like where Matt and I are. Not.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Okay.
Can you hear us, Steve?
Stephen, if you can hear me, please just type something in the chat. It's problem solving this ridiculous environment.
Proof of life.
Yeah. Okay. Stephen, if you can hear me, okay. Now listen carefully. You've got this 8-bit game looking thing in front of you, right? Okay, I see you nodding. Now use the arrow keys on your keyboard. Are you on a laptop? Go onto use the arrow keys up, down, left, right to move away from the stage area. So you see where I'm standing. Come to your right.
Dude, when you walk away, then you can't hear.
Yes. Okay, so Stephen, use the arrow keys on your laptop to move off the stage area. You see where Matt is? Move to your right. You can actually control your character's location with the arrow keys on your keyboard. There you go. Well done. Now come away from there and just join Matt and I in a group here. That's another complication. That's a private room. That's another complication because that's a private.
There we go. Oh, here we go.
Cool.
Okay, cool. Now let's try.
Don't move. Okay, Stephen, can you hear me? Don't move. Come back. Stephen, don't move. Don't move. Can you hear me? Okay, good. Um, so your mic, something wrong with your sound settings because you can hear me, but I can't hear you. I could hear you really quietly. So just check your Windows sound settings or whatever. And when you get that, when you figure that out, just begin speaking because I'll hear you. So yeah. So one development from this week. Okay, so back to you, Matt. Yeah, you mentioned not max, and so like how many? What is the plan here? What is your kind of goal with not max? Could you tell me more about that? Do you want to produce music and have it sort of reach Spotify playlists, or how are you going about that? What's the idea?
Yeah. So the main goal is live shows. So play live
Okay.
shows and then try and tour outside the country. So tour Europe, and
Yes.
places
Yes.
like I mean Europe's I think a good place to do it in terms of lots of countries close together. There's a culture of kind of dance music and techno and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people there that there's always someone in some country that A lot of people in Germany and Berlin and that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
So
Well, you've done
um,
touring in Europe before, haven't you? I mean,
yeah,
you've gone around there with the Hogs and stuff a while back. Cool. Well,
yeah,
then that certainly makes it easier. So your challenge then is if you want to tour. The, this is my understanding of it, being someone who's less experienced than you. But if you want to piggyback onto another artist's tour as your own solo act or whatever,
mm,
then it's worth buddying up with those people now and starting to attend their gigs and basically support and show your intentions to them.
yeah,
And then you also, of course, having some kind of hit song or some kind of like repertoire that people get down to is really going to help. It's very unlikely that you're going to get booked even locally unless you have this audience that we're all trying to build. And so
yeah,
the goal here should be to produce a piece of music which gets shared, to produce a piece of music which somehow stands out, either because you've got
yeah,
a network or connections that can promote it, or because it's just so damn good that people love it and it just hits. That's going to really help out. But it's not a necessary thing in my opinion. Like I think it's still possible to achieve that goal of like you mentioned playing a festival in Europe. I think it's still possible to achieve that goal just as kind of I don't know, just someone who's in with the crowd, in with people who are on that same level, and like connecting with people who have similar ambitions and spending time and committing to it. What do you think?
yeah. I mean I think it's a combination of all those things. I'm trying to put together like a not to-do list is like a bit of a strong one, but like kind of a flow of like there's a bit of music writing, then there's some marketing, which is going to be like as you said, having some content that might get shared.
Mm.
I think there's specifically like I do sort of live looping and stuff like that, so that it also does take the pressure off. I think there's something around like doing things live that takes some pressure off, like having sound quality that's like
Yeah, exactly.
top notch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And then there's also some pressure off like having like a Spotify playlist. Like if you're more of a live act, then
yeah,
there's less pressure on having a lot of content. But I mean, you can't go to a festival and be like, "Hey, will you book me?" You got like three followers on Instagram. They'll be like, "Who the
yeah,
fuck
yeah.
is this guy?"
Yeah,
So there has to be a
unfortunately,
balance of these things.
the large play counts do ameliorate the risk, and the risk avoidance is the dominating like motivation for most festival bookers. They don't want to lose money. Of course, they're putting up a lot, and Instagram, although large follow counts do result in more ticket sales and popularity does result in more ticket sales, it's still a flawed system. It's just the best one we've got. But the
Yeah,
question now is like, so where do the allegiances lie? Because there's a difference between creating music that gets uh, shared by people who it has meaning to, and aiming in whatever your efforts are for a large follow count. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like I've found in like my own journey that you often have to decide between the two. You often have to decide,
yeah,
am I going to try and create something that satisfies me, or am I going to try and create something in order to get booked for a festival? and I can't really like resolve this paradox. I don't really know how to do it. But what I do know is that the kind of bloat which surrounds social media numbers is a problem. It's a problem because it affects our mental health, and it affects the mental health of young people, and particularly
Yeah.
impressionable young people. And also, I'm just sensing that it's starting to become less and less necessary as more and more people make decisions based on not just on how many people are following something, but also on what the value systems are that went into creating that work, and what their friends think of
Yeah.
it, and what people they like think of it,
Yeah.
and what people they respect think of it. And these are kind of new ways of measuring, all of this new media and stuff. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know how to resolve it, but I would steer
I,
away
I mean, I
from
think
trying
it's
to get a big following so that you can get booked, because I don't think that really works that well, to be honest.
yeah. I think it's a balance between like if you can have. I mean, first like social media as a marketing tool,
Mm.
regardless of numbers, is a big one. Not only for advertisement, but also just engagement, reminding people who you are, what you're doing, putting out little teasers, putting out
Yeah,
show stuff. So
exactly.
communication. So there's that. There's almost a necessary uh, growth that needs to happen there, or organic engagement.
Yeah,
And I think when you do get some followership, if you've got an authentic, deep engagement, it comes through in that. So yeah, I think it's a balance of having some followers,
yeah.
but not like feeling the need to have to buy them or do something like
Yes,
that,
yes,
and then
exactly,
leveraging them properly. And
exactly, exactly. Yeah,
I think if you leverage them properly, then the time can be fed back to you as well. Things like posting stuff and saying like, what's up, guys? What do you think of this new lick or whatever?
yeah,
And
yeah,
people are like,
yeah,
oh, that sounds rad. And you're like, okay, I'm putting the next song playing at the next gig. Oh my god,
yeah,
like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and I think that way it also means that like if people can see, like I think if you're a promoter and you've got some rules, like we won't book anyone with like less than 1,000 followers because
Yeah,
we have to have a standard somewhere. But they look at you and you're like, okay, cool, you've got 1,000 followers, but you look very engaged with your people and you're a live act. So that kind of, it seems authentic.
yes,
That's the kind of balance that I'm also thinking a
yes.
lot about.
And
Yeah,
as the provider, as the provider of the service, the entertainment service, you have your own standards. You don't necessarily want to be trying to impress the promoter or the booker who's only got 5 seconds to gauge, how many Instagram followers you have before they move on to the next person in their list. This is a level
yeah,
of superficiality that you'd be foolish as someone trying to create a long-term business, a sustainable business. You'd be foolish to go
yeah,
in with people who don't measure anything other than just the number of followers or just the number of ticket sales. There are other values at play
yeah,
here. There are other metrics that are still finding their way into the spreadsheets after 20, 30 years of internet, and we're starting to learn how this is different in reality and how it's the same in reality. One thing I've starting to see very clearly is that the rules of relationships are the same online as they are in reality. You show up, you give, you commit, you demonstrate that you're
yeah,
sacrificing something to be there, and then in return
yeah.
you get loyalty and you get trust, and that actually leverages out into ticket sales or whatever else you see. I don't think there is another way to do it sustainably. There's shortcuts, but I don't think there's a long game at play unless you're looking at it like that. What do you think?
Yeah, there's a value exchange. I think that's one thing that we learned marketing and digital marketing was um, uh,
Hello? Just lost you.
yeah, but my firewall just jumps in when it connects the new video and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a digital marketing thing about value exchange where you can push out advertising and talk about your brand and try to engage, but if there's no like if all you're doing is speaking outwards, there's no exchange there. So you want to have
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's like why should someone be looking at you or listening to you or engaging with you or doing anything with you at all? Like what in that relationship, where's the back and forth? How does someone feel? So that's a lot of what I'm it's a lot of what I do think about, but I mean often just don't apply it to myself because I haven't really had a brand. So that's kind of the next step is I've got to put together like a content plan
Yeah.
after this initial after this insurance stuff, and then start working out and I think showing up is I've learned that from what you've been saying. I think it's super true. Like, if you're going to be posting every 3 days, you post something, then make sure you post every 3 days. Make sure it's there,
Right.
and not just day 1, 2, 3, and then there's a month, and sorry guys, I'm back. 1, 2, 3, and then please come to my gig.
The sorry I'm back post can have its charm, but yeah. So let's talk
Yeah.
practical stuff. These conversations can go on and get a bit philosophical. So practically speaking, you've got an idea in mind for at some points in the future where you want to kind of shift your time away from your current setup to creating new material, rehearsing new material, and having some kind of content plan for sharing that at a pace that suits you. Is that right? What are you going to be doing?
Yeah.
Are you writing music? What kind of music is it? You mentioned you're a live, sort of focusing on live, but how does that tie in with the idea of a content plan if you're doing just live stuff? Are you going to do video, or what's your plan?
Yeah, so the idea is to do a couple of, I want to do a couple of live streams, also to get some more material to send to promoters.
Brilliant.
So 1 or 2 live streams, and also, I do, I've been like programming lights and stuff at home. So, like bring some intelligent lighting into it as well if possible. Maybe do some posts on like setting up for these things, whatever, but mostly just getting content that's decent. I want to go, sit the folk down studios and they said I can get some studio time there just to lay down some like decent vocals, and trombone, and then I want to also like I've got a couple of there's a couple of tracks that track ideas that aren't tracks that probably will take a while to get into to come up the backbone pipeline of but it would be cool to like just put out some of those little clips. Like I've got a couple of clips with like vocoders and stuff that are kind of interesting. Just put out those and be like, hey, this is what I produced, or this is what I'm working on, or this is an idea that I had. So kind of put out some creativity. That's kind of the plan, is to build up actually make through the production is to make spin-off side content easily. That can be shared.
Well, keep me in the loop, because as you might know or not know, I am devoting some time every month towards growing my live streaming skills, if that makes sense. So if you're doing it, whether it's from your house and you're doing test setups with your lighting or whatever, or if you're at Sit the Folk Down at Empire, just keep me looped. Let me know when you plan on doing it, and I'll see if that can be one of the sessions, because what I've got is a bag here full of stuff that I use. It's currently like 2 cameras plus the laptop camera, which means I can do these like 3 camera shoots, and then an external sound card, which you can either use the condenser mics or you can use 2 inputs. So basically my goal at this point in time is to be better at live streaming, both for myself and for other artists, with a view to like, content farming, of course, but also just being able to go to events and have some kind of value, like playing covers to 30 old men is not really my idea of like a path towards any kind of leverage. Like what I want to do is have a YouTube channel filled with stuff that's like performances that I've done, performances that I've shown, showcasing other artists. So basically, long story short, give me a shout if you've got any plan to do live streaming now. That's the goal.
Yeah, thanks, man. Cool.
Yeah, you know me, bro. I love tech stuff and plugging shit in on the weekends. And cool, man. Stephen, are you micless, my man? Did you figure out any of your sound settings? Did you manage to just say something? Can I hear you? I can hear that you're speaking, but I can't actually hear a single word. So it's like really soft and garbled. Anyway, maybe if you've got an external mic or an external headset, try plug that in.
This.
Whoa. Hello? Cool. All right, good. Sweet. Well, Matt, I'm going to hold you to that, bro. I want to see your stuff and I want to hear your stuff. I'll check out the link you sent in the chat.
Yeah, I popped a link in the chat there.
So. Yeah, I want to monitor your journey. I actually whipped out my kind of live electronic set the other night just for fun. It was great. Sat there in the lounge and just fucked around with it. And, content creation is very much like at the heart of...
Sorry, I walked away by accident.
yeah. So anyway, like that, I had that whiteboard up a second ago, and kind of the idea behind this evening. We've got about 20 minutes left, but the idea behind this evening was to draw attention to the idea of direct sales as opposed to earning royalties and selling your time
Right.
through performances and
Right.
teaching and producing. So you could think of the question being the number one question people ask me is, how do I make music? Sorry, how do I make money from
Yeah.
music? And it's a broad question. And so
Yeah.
the first fork is divide that into two potential revenue categories. One being you are selling your time, you're renting your time, either through production or performance or through teaching. And the other option is intellectual property, which encapsulates all types of copyright, Spotify, playlist revenue, that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
then there's this other new-ish type of fork, which is direct sales, because it's not actually it falls under intellectual property, but people are now paying like like they buy a can of beans, they're buying an ebook telling them how to connect their home stereo system. So if you've got any kind
Yeah.
of knowledge, if you see what I'm saying, if you've got any kind of knowledge, the time is ripe to start monetizing that. And as a musician, you can do that either
Yeah.
by you can be a teacher online, so creating PDFs and ebooks or whatever on really specific stuff. Like I said, how to teach jazz saxophone to teenagers. That's the type of thing that jazz saxophone players will be so thrilled to find that not only will they pay $5, $10 for it, they'll actually tell their other jazz saxophone friends about it, their other jazz
Yeah.
saxophone teachers about it. This is the very heart of minimum viable audience and making stuff for people rather than trying to make people want your stuff. You make stuff that people actually want, and then it
That people
spreads.
want.
And
Yeah.
that spreading, that word of mouth, is pretty much the last bastion of marketing. It's the holy grail when someone you don't know turns to their friend, also a stranger, and says, you got to check out this book on jazz saxophone. It's really neat. It'll save you time or it'll make you money. It's not a personal
Yeah. It's again,
connection.
it's
Yeah,
that value exchange. Yeah.
it's a value exchange. It's not a personal connection. The idea that you're doing it, that for example, I've got a gig in 2 weeks at this place called Monkey Valley. Okay, it's in Noordhoek. Never, I've played there once before.
Can I stop you there? Can I just
Yeah,
run to
sure.
the bathroom quick? I'm about to
Yeah, no, of
fucking
course, yeah.
pee
I'll tee up my
all over the
story.
job.
I'll tee up my story so long.
All right. Shit.
Jeez, that was quick.
That was
What are
that came out of nowhere.
you're a
It
prize
was like a
racehorse.
what's that?
You're a prize racehorse, bro. That was super quick.
Yeah, I do have a fast bladder for some reason.
Must be the girth. Must be the girth.
Yeah, the world's biggest urethra just
Fire hose,
just
yeah.
falls out like a water balloon.
I'm thinking of like the wider the urethra, the quicker the initial dump aided by gravity. But you gotta have a pretty strong urethral sphincter to keep that shit back.
Yeah,
Somehow
a river clamp. Yeah,
I worked the phrase urethral sphincter into this chat.
yeah,
So in 2 weeks I've got an event at this Monkey Valley place in Noordhoek, which is cool. And it's not, what I do isn't really for those people. I mean, I can adapt, I can do the cover songs and the classic rock because it's a Sunday afternoon vibe, and that's all they want. And I've learned that now, that what the people who go to Monkey Valley on a Sunday afternoon, they don't want something new. They don't want something that they can
yeah,
be that they can gain status by sharing with their friends. You see, that's not why they're there. Why they're there is to hear classic rock and to hear blues and to see someone usually younger than themselves put a bit of energy into it and show them a good time and all that. And they're there for a bit of a show. Like you mentioned, Jeremy Loops won because he realized people wanted a show. So I've got a choice to make. Am I going to try to satisfy the needs of an existing customer base, or am I going to try to impose my own ambitions on them? Now, this isn't a right or wrong thing. It's not. It's not black and white. It's just that the one path is going to earn you popularity and admiration from people who see what you're doing. You're giving them what they want. While the other path is going to earn you popularity and admiration from people who reject the normal. You might call it people on the fringes versus people in the middle. So you could think of it as like a big town hall or a village where there's the marketplace on a Sunday. Everyone knows that's where you get your vegetables. You go there, but there are also people who don't like that, and they're outside this status quo. They're outside the main group in the middle. I'm one of those people. I'm a neophiliac. I love finding new stuff. I love it when roles are subverted. I love it when people mess around with the way things should be. Hey, there you go.
Yeah. Steven.
Yeah, so we've got this choice to make is what I'm saying. And in your case, with NotMax, you've got to look at what it is that people want. And if it is the case that you find a group of people in Cape Town, your regional start, that really want live improvised electronic music with trombone and a dude who knows how to have a good time, then you've got to go to where they are and give them that.
Oh, totally.
You know
Yeah.
And if it's the case that
we used to have a saying was be where the people are. Be where the people are.
Yeah. Find your way.
Be where they are.
Yeah. And you can always twist things around once you're in there. Once you've got the gig and people can see, oh, that's not Max. He does that thing. Then you can start to thrill the people who want to be thrilled by showing up with new stuff. Hey guys, new song I'm writing. So you kind of choose where you want to fall in the spectrum of the status quo. You can be a weirdo outsider and succeed, and you can also be someone who just gives the people bread and potatoes and also succeed. So we don't. The point I'm trying to make here is that the alternatives to the status quo were never really a possibility up until this point in time. But now that all of these connections, now that one person on the complete far west side of the village can talk to the person on the complete east side of the village, it means that geography doesn't play a part anymore in who we connect with, which means our tribes are starting to be formed not on our proximity to the center of the hub, but they're being formed around our ideologies and our values. And this is what Seth Godin calls psychography, not geography, but psychography, where we connect around ideas. We connect around ideas and values. Yeah. Anyway.
100%. It's Stephen with us. Dude, we heard your voice.
You guys are already overthinking it.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
You guys are totally overthinking it. Basically, you just do whatever the fuck you want. And if there's a market, good, then you just keep pumping that market. I mean...
And if there isn't? Do you keep
it really doesn't come down to more than that.
Do you keep doing what you want?
I think the musician thing is always just trying to find the market. It's just like a natural, it's not a natural state of being is to go and find those things. Whereas I think you're right. Once you find it,
what do you mean? You just you play your music, then you kind of go, okay, so who likes this kind of music? And you just go and you just play to those people, and those same people that like your music will be like, if you try to include them in things like where you can play, the venues and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just speaking from, I play in a spoken word band. I'm a drummer. I also play some keyboard, but mainly drums.
The Buck Fever Underground.
Yeah, that's right. We called the Buck Fever Underground, and we're pretty strange. I mean, and this band's been going for 20 years. So I think my kind of 2 cents on the whole thing is kind of like, just really do your own thing and kind of like, feed whatever, wherever you try to kind of engage your community. So instead of aiming for the 100%,
Yes, exactly.
if the market is 0.5% of the entire population of the music market in South Africa, those are the people that you got to like pile the shit out of those people. So like,
Yeah.
Totally, man.
you can't just go, oh, that's a
One,
small
two.
market. It's like, okay, what do these people want? And try to understand, like, okay, they want like a double CD. Fucking give it to them. They want a T-shirt with like tie-dye or whatever on it. They're also in for this kind of product, so you'll find them at this place.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get to know those people, it's all about like real, you got to kind of hone your community and
Totally.
fuck the rest because it's all noise.
Yeah,
And
totally,
then
totally. Yeah.
those, because it's very easy with this internet shit and Instagram to get caught up with 100%.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
like sort of,
Yeah, totally.
you've got to be very like, you almost got to be like, I hate all these other people. That's what I've kind of heard people saying
Yeah,
about
yeah. Or
the way you approach
shun,
marketing.
shun the non-believer is the saying. Shun the non-believer. So
Yeah,
make it clear to your
and you will
followers who
also,
is not invited. That's
and I think, well, with with my band, you get certain people that are like crazy about the band, and you got to try to sort of, those are the people that want to buy your entire, they come and they've come to like every show in the last 10 years kind of thing, and they now want to buy like the entire box set because like the Sun in Australia didn't have all the CDs.
that's right. Yeah.
So you got to be like, that 80-20 rule that marketing people throw around. So
Yeah, the freedom.
basically, it's like 20% of the people that like follow you will buy 80% of all your shit. Those are the people that you got to sort of think in that sort of terms, that like a lot of people will be like, not, they'll just buy one track, but then there'll be those 20% that'll just be like, this guy is the best shit out. And you would be like, what the fuck? I'm not so special.
Okay, well
But
let's
people think
use Toast. Okay, so Toast Kutsigmat is the primary songwriter for Buck Fever. Steven's been playing with him for years, and it's 20 years old. Let's use this as a case study because I find that what Toast has done is a very, very good demonstration of this principle of make stuff that people want, not make people want your stuff, right? What Toast has done is he's done things a little bit differently. He's done things very differently to your average upcoming South African musician. Firstly, he didn't stay in one place. He toured around and he got to know people. Okay. Well, actually, firstly, before that, is he's written a cuckload of stuff. Most people, we kind of gloss over this step because we used to reading listicles about how to quickly get famous. You've got to write a lot of stuff for people to even start getting, to notice you, whether it's songs or content or blog posts or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You've got to create a body of work before people stop feeling embarrassed to share what you've done because you keep showing up.
Yeah.
Toast has written books and books and books of poetry. So he's got a large bed of material to draw from. That's something that most South African musicians have not done. Okay, we're talking like scraps of songs don't count as finished ideals. The ability to play the guitar does not count as a show. You have to actually deliver. You have to actually sign, stamp, and seal it and ship it to the public before it becomes something that you've done, right? And Toast has done that. He's done that again and again. He's delivered album after album, right? So that's the main difference. We've got a mature individual, someone who understands that, okay, his poetry is in English and Afrikaans, and he makes Afrikaans people feel like that they're at their home dorpie in the Karoo, because he knows there's a type of nostalgia about, living in the city and being away from the past and all of that. So he actually has quite accurately, as poets do, He has diagnosed an existing need in his customer base, which is these same, 100 or 500 or 1,000 people that keep showing up to his shows. He's diagnosed a need, and he doesn't deviate from what he delivers. And this is so unique, and it's actually it's an act of empathy. It's an act of empathy to sit down and go, these people that are so close to my heart, what is it that I can give them as somebody who writes all the time? And he sits down and he does it. He might want to be famous. He might want to write more stuff like Ed Sheeran. He might want to deviate, but he doesn't, because it's not just about where his bread and butter is. It's about empathy. It's about the fact that he's actually showing up, even on nights when the gigs only come in, bringing in 300 Rand or whatever. He still shows up, and he has been showing up for 20 years. And that's actually the difference. Toast Kutze is actually an embodiment of the minimum viable audience principle. Stop making people want your stuff. Stop forcing yourself. Stop trying to create a market. Start making stuff people already want. This is at the heart of it all. This is what all marketers and musicians need to hear. If you're struggling and you want to make money, turn your dial so that it's pointing towards empathy for people that you already can relate to, and start delivering that kind of stuff to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's value exchange. It's if you're not we had it once with Captain Stu where I think we had an argument one day, and I was like, guys, let's not just go with the first horn line we come up with. Like, let's what do we want to do? Like, do we want people to dance to this song? Do we want people to cry to this song? Like, what are we trying to give them? And they were like, oh, well, I like it. Whatever. I'm like, that's fine. But if that's what you want to do, then you got to be comfortable with like only your mom being in the audience. If it's just all about you. Yeah. But if you think about who you're playing for and cater for them as well, then you can start talking about like, I guess more of what we're talking about now. Marketing and trying to build your audience. Yeah.
So who is your? And this is the tough question, Matt. Who do you think are the people that you can empathize with? Who do you think your audience is? Who are the people whose values you share, who are going to be thrilled to hear when you start releasing Not Natural?
Yeah, so my audience at the moment that I'm kind of based off is kind of the, I guess, more of a burner mentality. Definitely people that are open to psychedelics, or at least have that kind of open mind, that the conceptually the set that I try to build, and I've been trying to build, is basically a train journey.
A train journey, yeah. Okay, cool.
So you get on the train, and off we go, and I take you through different sort of sound.
You there?
I cut off there.
Yeah, it's cool. So a journey that takes you through different sort of...
My back.
Yeah. Hello? Hello.
Yo, am I back?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Am I back?
Sweet.
Yeah. Okay, sick. I don't know what happened there. Yeah. So the concept is a train. The set is like a train journey. So you get on the train, and it builds and it builds. It's not. I'm not trying to target people that like big drops, and I cannot lie. No, but like, it's not about the big EDM drops or anything like that. It's more about like minimal tech. Get up a little bit, then it's a little drop, and building and rolling and kind of getting people into that sort of very monotonous hypnotic state, and kind of providing an atmosphere and a bubble for them to be in, and also to engage. It doesn't have to always just be bang, 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 but there's a fishbowl that we make with this kind of music, and it's the idea is this train journey, landscapes, soundscapes changing. So very much like more of an Africa Burn kind of crowd, or a psychedelic crowd, or outdoor festival kind of crowd. But also, I think there's space for it inside. And then on top of that, a little bit of trying to know that people, not everyone is like that. So if there's a little bit of fringe on there, people that are interested but not fully immersed in that, that's where like I've got a bunch of vocals that come in. I do like a cover of Crazy in Love, but in this weird like techno style, And it kind of gives a little bit of something else to hook onto without sacrificing the core idea, but also not just being like single blatant minded and being like, you know, if you're not going to like the, you know, reverb kick drum and just then, you know, like, you know, try and do, you know, cater for some entertainment in that as well. So that's kind of that's the aim, that's the audience, that's the vision that I'm kind of like working on at the moment. Yeah.
Kef, man, yeah, sweet. Well, yeah, gooi a face melt every so often there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you must connect. I'll think of you next time. It's been like years, but when the ward, there's a guy called Riaz Jogi. He's a friend of mine. Him and Ward 10 and Django. Those guys do similar vibe. They do more on the psy-trance side of things, but also live electronic sample-based looping with live instruments and effects. I used to play a bit of violin and guitar with them. So next time, if anything's happening, like if we've got a rehearsal studio together or something, then we must bring you in and fucking just everybody have a bit of a jam. I want to have like a proper electronic jam. You know, bring a laptop and a violin like we did at your house. I want to do that again.
Yeah, I think we should do that again. And I've also been working on just some tools and stuff to make it a bit easier to not there yet, but just like have sections in the music. You know, so it's not just 4 bars ad nauseum, that you can have a section change, come back to a section. Yeah.
A's and
but
B's,
yeah, I mean, Stephen, I'm actually quite interested in what you're saying there about like you know, having that core fan base, 80-20, especially like a lived experience of fans that are, you know, as you said, you're like thinking like, I'm not that special, but actually somebody values that product so much and that music and that art, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have a specific question attached to that, but I mean, I would love to hear a bit more about that. And like, you know, did these people just find you? I mean, are some of them engaging with you at all, or are they just hanging around? Are they trying to be your friends? Are they random? Anybody can qualify. Like, yeah. I mean, I think that's what I'm trying to build as well. So it'd be really interesting to hear some more about that.
You there, Stephen?
Yeah. Can you see me?
I can hear you, but I
can't see you, but we can hear you.
I don't look. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
can hear. Yeah.
You can't see me though.
No, can't see you.
Oh, maybe I didn't enable the camera or something.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. This thing is also quite confusing.
It is a little bit.
It's like why can't they just make it a simple? Yeah. So you want to know like who the fans are? You know, some of them are just like I've been with the band since 2001, but the band's been going since 1998, and some of them are, you know, Toasts and Gil, who founded the band. It's like their friends, and sometimes we just meet weird people that like become super fans. For example, we've done it twice now. We've done like we reached out to a couple of people and said like, we want to do a national tour. Do you know, can we play in your lounge, or do you know someone who has some place that we can play? And in fact, we paid most of the time. We played in people's lounges, and some of these people, you know, we'd arrive at a place, and I was like, "So, how do you know this person, Toast?" And he was like, "I don't know them from a bar of soap. They just they bought our CD or whatever back like 10 years ago, and they responded on Facebook." It's like weird. So you get this. Yeah, so you get some, and some of these people are like, yeah, I mean, that's a whole other thing, you know, using, you know, instead of going to traditional venues, you know, think out of the box, like use, in this case, living rooms of people, which is like the best fucking idea ever. Come think about it. If you like, unless you play like really fucking loud music, because you can, you go to the person's house, you can drink as much as you want, because you're going to sleep at that place. You don't have to pay for the fucking hotel or the B&B or whatever, because you're going to stay at that person's house. Then the people that come, they're all like sort of, they know the host, so they are inclined to be people that are going to listen. And also the host wants to be like, the host wants to make a big deal about it, because it's, for them, it's kind of like they are like showing off to their friends, like,
Yeah,
I'm
status.
hosting an event.
Totally.
Yeah, it is the best fucking, forget about bars. I mean, I reckon for your kind of like techno trance music, what is it, techno trance kind of,
Yeah,
you
like a
could do the
techno,
same. Hey, sorry,
techno, yeah.
you could do something similar. You probably need a bit of an outside space, you
Yeah,
know,
farms. Go for
and
farms.
right now with COVID going to last for a long time, and it's brilliant now for the outside kind of. You reach out to, basically how this works is like when we did these living room shows, Toast just reached out to his network, and he luckily has a shitload of people that he has got a big network. So in this case, I recommend like you reach out to your network and you just say, hey, I'm interested to come, and you just make a vague plan. I'm coming up the garden route, or I'm coming up through the Karoo to Victoria West, or what, that kind of thing. So you give them the route sort of thing, and you say, do you know anyone, or do you perhaps have a farm or a big outdoor garden or something where I can play my music, and this is what I bring, and you'll find that that is a best way to travel, because your experience will be more intimate. Like the 100 people that will come, for instance, like instead of playing at a place where you have 1,000 people, play at like a smaller place where there's like 50 to 100, and then like 5 of those people, 10 of those buy a CD or download the music or whatever, and then they're also going to pay for the experience, and they're going to be with people they know. They're going to feel safe, especially at this time. So it's like this kind of smaller choreographed thing. It's much better, and then you also don't have to pay someone for a venue hire, or like
Yeah.
bring masses, like mass loads of big speakers. If you have a small system yourself, that might help.
Yeah, I do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you bring your own system, and like if it's 50 to 100 people that you can cater for, that's awesome. That's actually the best kind of size right now.
Yeah.
And then you focus on kind of choreo. You also speak to the host, and you say like, okay, these people that are coming now, how much do they want to pay? Because maybe the host reckons that like 100 Rand is too much, and actually it's like 60 Rand. And then they bring their own booze. You don't have to worry. It's like it's an awesome model that I think every musician should exploit. I thought this is like, venues rape the shit out of you, man. All they want to know is like, are you going to get like 100 people that are going to drink the crap out of the bar? Now you eliminate that by getting a venue that is a house or a farm or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes those people, even the host caters, brings their own alcohol, and maybe the host says, okay, 200 Rand, and I'll take 100 Rand and you take 100 Rand, because that 100 Rand is going to cover the punch or whatever,
Yeah, I'd
So
be
you make
interested
up that
I'd
kind
be
of.
interested to see some kind of like comparative write-up between the house concert model and like a venue hire model for the average local musician, and seeing and try. Yeah, I mean, I would encourage you to like spend
Dude,
a
I
day
mean,
writing
John
it down and
Shabbat
figure it out.
John Shaban is the king of that stuff. You know, I mean, with the Sit the Folk Down. I mean, obviously, Sit the Folk Down was born out of that model, and he just happened to also, because he's running a play a lot, so he probably has some insight there. And Stephen, that's actually a great idea. I mean, I played a house show. There was like a house party, a house cooling kind of gig, and it was fucking great. So actually, and I have thought about like what would it take to tour the country with like a rig and stuff. But I think that's such a good idea in terms of it's a slightly different framing, just a different mindset.
You can't, yeah, and also right now with COVID, it just suits. Like, when is the next big festival coming with even 500 people? You got to like minimize. You got to like sort of make it a niche experience. So it's some guy who likes your music, and he's like having his farewell, or he's having a wedding or whatever, and he thought, shit, why don't I get, and he's getting you for a massive discount, because instead of paying like, I don't know, 50,000, he's getting you for this much. And so you know, like, think about that kind of thing. I mean, then you just go like, okay, I need to get a Port Alfred or whatever, so that what else can I ask other people along the way? And it actually turns out, it turns out to be fun. Actually, it's like, I did lots of gigs at bars and stuff, and I really didn't like it. I mean, unless you play a shit like really loud music, then you might have a problem playing at someone's house. But
yeah, that's one of the things I was gonna raise is compatibility. But listen, before we go on, I have to get going. This is a fascinating chat. Can we take it up again at the next one? We'll use house concerts as a topic of discussion for COVID struggling musicians. Should we do that? I've just got to go because it's like a cut-off time for me. But so I'm really sorry to interrupt, because this is a topic that I want to actually get more into, and maybe even codify some of it, like write it down and share it with people and stuff. So thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much for bringing that up and sharing your experience there. And same to you, Matt. I look forward to the next one, guys. I don't mind if you carry on, but I've got to go.
Yeah, sorry about my technical.
No, it's all good. It's just I've had enough screen time today, but we're gonna do another one in 2 weeks. It's every 2 weeks on Tuesday. I'm scheduling these kind of get-togethers. The idea being, you know, topics which benefit South African musicians, and specifically my forte being online sales and digital downloads. So you're welcome to share it. You know what to expect. I'll set the date and I'll remind you guys in email and WhatsApp, and carry on the discussion then. How does that sound?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Cool, man.
Cool.
Good.
Sweet. Matt, so you want to see you? Stephen, I think we got a hike scheduled for Saturday, so see you then.
Yeah, 9:00. I'll send you a reminder and then.
Shot. And I'm looking forward to hearing this Not Max shit, Matt. I'm looking forward to it. Right, I'm going to listen to it right now.
Yeah, did you get the link there?
I got it. Yeah, it's YouTube.
Awesome.
Cool. Peace out, homies. Thank you so much for joining this. For joining this little discussion. It's super rad.
Sweet. See you guys on Flippy Floppy.
Yeah, see you on the flop.
Cheers, dudes.
Ciao, man.
Cheers, dudes. Adios.
Cheers.